And we're live.
Another day we're fortunate to be breathing, another opportunity to continue achievement. Welcome to Practical Pivot, everyone. The show where two average guys discuss small steps we can take to change the direction of our lives. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sean.
And today our topic is happiness a decision? We'll be discussing if happiness is a decision.
Okay. So I guess in pre-show, we decided that I'm going to get started. And to answer the question straight out, it is. I think it is. Through my life experiences and just things I've been going through recently, it is a decision. So let's see. How can I put this? As an adult, like, I guess I'm going to go into like marriage talk here a little bit. So, happiness being a decision, like you can sit here and take all your problems that you're having, with your spouse or whatever, and either you could decide to make things better or you could decide to live in that situation, So happiness to me is, I like avoiding conflict. I'm more free flow. I like taking a path of least resistance. And sometimes that is learning to let shit go. And I think that there's some folks out there that harbor a lot of that. I don't want to say hate, but a lot of that stress. And they choose not, and I feel they're so stubborn or prideful or whatever the case is that it is a conscious decision for you to hold on to that type of stress. So for me, it's a lot of self-reflection and being one person's happiness is not the other person's happiness either. But you have to take a look at yourself and see what's going to make you happy, and maybe that doesn't make sense to somebody else, or if you're with somebody, you love a certain thing and they don't understand why, well, that's okay. But you have to do things that make you happy, and it may not make everybody else happy, but I truly believe that happiness is a decision no matter which way you find it. So what about you, Mike?
Well, a couple of things. One, I think is interesting you said that. For some people, and I'll include myself in that, I think it's just a struggle identifying what that is. Because it's real easy to be unhappy and not know what the solution is to make that change to happiness. To sort of answer the initial question, if happiness is a decision, it's funny because maybe 3 to 4 years ago, no one could convince me that. I didn't believe that.
Okay.
I actually had this discussion with a coworker, and I was in a break room one day, and I'm like, man, this is some, just kind of having a messed up day. They were like, well, we started talking about happiness, and it's like, oh, well, it's all about you, and it's all about how you feel and all that. And I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever, man. Like I wasn't really trying to hear it. But now, fast forward a few years, I get it. I still struggle with it, but I do get it. And the reason is because I look at so many other people in so many different situations that are way worse than what problems that I have, right? I mean, people who are like terminally ill or dealing with, like serious family issues, just all these other sorts of things, right? And or just people who live in areas or dealing with like major financial problems, other countries that, might be a lot less fortunate than we are. And a lot of people still find happiness. And here I am, complaining about stuff that, yeah, to me, it's an issue, or it might make me unhappy. But when I look at it on a larger scale, it's probably something that I could like get past, and I shouldn't really be tripping off of the way I am. So I do think that a lot of the time it is just your attitude and how you choose to look at a particular situation. So yes, I do believe that it is a decision. And although it might be hard to see it in the moment that you're going through something that's difficult, or that you are in a situation, a relationship, a job, whatever the problem is, right? Hard financial times that might suck for the moment. Ultimately, how you move forward and how you this what your outlook on it is really up to you, you know?
It's real interesting that you say that, and like you explain it like that. And the reason why is because apparently, I guess on my Facebook page, I have a bunch of complainers, and they're like, "Oh, this, oh, that," and I usually respond with, "Well, your problems are what some people would love to have. Like they would love to have." The problems that that we're experiencing, and not just like in third world countries, but also like we see a bunch of homelessness where we live.
Hmm.
And, we're, oh, the rent's too high, or, just something like you said, financially. And then, just recently I had this epiphany that, what, I got to embrace and appreciate my problems, because just like what you said about identifying and about how you attack a problem is how you look at it. And, you touched on it. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, you know what? That's actually really true. Your attitude on how you look at your situation and finding that silver lining. Like, oh, man, I got to pay my, the car note this month, or, I got to pay insurance. And it's like, well, at least I could afford a car,
Hmm.
or at least, I could afford insurance. Or, pre-show, I was just telling you I had to go to a doctor's appointment. I don't like going to the doctor, but the cool thing is I know that when I go to the doctor, I'm not going to be paying $100, $200 copay to go see him.
Right.
So even though I got to go to the doctor, I know it's not going to be that bad. It's like financially, Um, so yeah, man, yeah, for sure. The choice of the way you look at something, and I just recently had that epiphany myself about embrace your problems, and in turn, yeah, that made me a little bit more happy about them. Like, man, I'm actually pretty glad I got this problem, because there are some people that are facing exactly what you said, worse, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I believe that the happiness is a decision for sure.
Yeah, it's all perspective too. Because for us, our problems might seem like they're not really a big deal, but for us, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, it could be an 8 just based on our life experience, which is very
True,
different from somebody else,
true,
who for to them it's like, dude, that's nothing. I've been through this and that. To me, that problem would be a 2.
right.
But it's just all, it's just all how you grow up, what you've had to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and what your perspective is. But it's funny, man, because I'm like, I'm not gonna try to. I've already admitted it many, many times, and everybody who really knows me knows. Like, I'm a glass half empty kind of person,
Right.
so I do complain, and I know that's like a huge fault of mine. Um, but I complain constantly, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was doing this, or oh, this should be that. But at the end of the day, I really don't have anybody else to blame but myself for why I'm not doing this or why I'm not doing that, right? So I mean, I could look at it and, sit and just feel sorry for myself, or try to make a change, try to like, all right, cool, yeah, I'm not doing it right now, but you know what? I'm still fortunate enough to have this. I could be doing it. I could be
Right.
doing this. I'm taking the steps to try and do this.
Right.
So, it's about, like you said, it's kind of identifying what it is what's going to make you happy, and trying to pursue it, but also having a positive attitude while you do it, while you pursue it.
Yeah, you know what? You definitely, like, I totally got to agree on your point on that. Like, you know, okay, I don't own a home. And I know there's people that own homes and they're like, oh, the roof went out. I got to pay this, or I got to pay that. I'm like, not that having a roof go out and having to pay to replace it would be fun to me, but it's like, I wish I had that problem. I wish I could, okay, I own my home, and, now I got to pay this, I got to pay that. And I really think it is that perspective. It is that the way you look at that problem. So I guess what I'm going more towards, instead of saying like what's making you happy, it's like, well, take your situation where you're not happy, or a situation where you're not happy, and try to find that silver lining that's going to, potentially help you change that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like, again, we always talk about it doing the show. It's about keeping each other accountable. And, even if there were some missteps here and there, it's like, okay, well, what are we doing? Are we still talking about it? Are we still, hooking up? Are we still networking and doing this thing or whatever the case is? And yeah, we don't have 1 million subscribers, but it's like there's people that can't even do what we're doing now. Yeah. So, or they choose not to, or, they don't have the time or the resources to do just a little that we're doing at this point. So, yeah, the attitude of your current situation, and it may not be as bad as others, and it, you may not be, $100 million in the bank or whatever, but man, at least, you're not taking your check to the check cashing place, right? Where they're robbing you.
Yeah. Yeah. True that. So, all right. So let me ask you this though, and I'm assuming the answer, I'm assuming I know what the answer is, but I'll just ask it anyway, just based on the conversation. Right. But, so overall, do you consider yourself a happy person?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? And, I'm a Gemini. I was born in June, and apparently we have split personalities. And then like our sign is, I think it's air, but we just kind of go with the flow. Like it's nothing really could get me down or frustrated because I always try to find that silver lining. And sometimes when I am down and out, something will remind me like, oh, dude, it ain't that bad, and then of course, me not wanting conflict or having to hold on to stress, it forces me to look at a perspective somewhat differently.
Mm-hmm.
So, would I consider myself a happy person? I think so. I think I'm a happy person. And I guess the other thing too is like when I surround myself with people, I kind of want people around me to be happy and or positive as well. So when people are making these complaints to me, I'm always trying to shoot it back at them with a positive spin on it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to say, oh, everybody needs to be happy all the time. But again, if we realize the situation and, I don't want to say benefits, but I guess it would be benefits or, the silver linings of where we are in our life, and we focus more on like what we have versus what we don't have, then I think we're just going to be happy in general. And maybe that's just me settling. Now I say that out loud, it's like, oh man, you sound like you're settling. But I'd only be settling if I wasn't working towards something bigger.
Right. Now, I don't see it as settling at all. Okay. Not even a little. Yeah. No, I don't see that.
Okay. But yeah, I would definitely consider myself a happy person, and I think just like what the topic is because I decide not to let the other stuff beat me down. So what about you, Mike? Would you consider yourself a happy person?
No, not really. I mean, not overall. It kind of, I'd say I have my ups and my downs. I'm a happy person in training in the very, 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 very early stages. Because like I said, and I hate to keep saying it, but I do have a glass empty kind of personality. And, for some people around me, I know it can be draining. And I try not to be overly vocal about how I feel, but a lot of it is, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to ask, sorry to cut you off, but like, why? Let me ask that. Like, why do you feel like you're that? Like,
because I get frustrated with where I am in my life a lot.
Okay.
And how I make money and how I spend my time. And again, these are things that I'm fully aware that I'm in control of and I should be the one changing them. But, which I am trying, but I just get frustrated. And I'm like, man, I want to be doing this or I want to be doing that. And I focus too much on what I want to be doing and not really appreciating what it is that I'm actually doing at the moment and how blessed I am, how fortunate I am to just have the opportunities that I have. And again, huge fault of mine, but I'm working on it. It's part of the reason I'm even discussing it now. Right.
Right. So, okay. Well, yeah. let me ask you a couple of things. Right. So what did you do before this job? to make money? Let me ask you that.
Well, it's not even the job. Honestly, it's not like.
Well, just answer the question. Let's just kind of work with me here. Shoot a couple out with
It worked another job. I mean,
it
was
like,
just
so was it like was it manual labor, or like what was it?
No. I mean,
An office job?
Prior to working for the company that we work for,
Yeah.
it was office work.
Okay, I mean, because I was in retail, so like, I mean, like, I guess I look back, and I always look back at what I did before, and I sold video games. I sold cell phones,
Mm-hmm.
and for nothing. And I thought, I was making it. Like, I was getting paid like, $14 an hour. And I was like, man, this is the shit. And I'm really good at my job. I really like it. And at the time it was fine. But now I look back and I'm like, if I was making that same salary now, I couldn't make it. So as much as I dislike some of the stuff that I have to do at work, I look back at that and and then I guess I compare the growth. For me, that's how I find like my happiness there. Like, oh man, this sucks. I got to do this, and this, but that's a whole lot better than doing that. So I guess I better get up and go to work. I guess that's how like my little thought process goes. Like, like right now, I have a teenage son, and he is the biggest headache in the world. Right. And I remember, he used to be my little guy and all this stuff. And we used to go out and have a lot of fun. And now it's not that way. And it sucks bad. But I have to look at it and change my perspective. Like, he's growing up.
Right.
He is growing up. He's becoming his own man. He has, the opportunities because, I sacrificed, me and the wife sacrificed a lot to be able to provide for him. And he's going through his stages. And as much as it sucks, and I'm just like, man, you are a headache, I have to look back and be grateful for him being a headache because, he's healthy. He's living in a great place. He goes to a good school. And it's due to nothing he's done, but where we've come. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I keep muting my mic every time I think I'm gonna cough. So
yeah, I didn't think you were coughing in silent. I didn't think you're that talented. It's just hold that. I'm like, oh, you should be rich. You could do that.
Yeah. So even though he's this big old headache, and I hate it now, I'm like witnessing a transformation from this little boy to like this teenager to eventually him be a man. And as parents, we want our kids the best for our kids, but that's not really going to be ultimately up to me. And as much as it sucks, I mean, what I'm seeing is this evolution of the little boy that I raised, and it makes me happy. But God, he's a headache, and I guess that's what I just kind of relate to like work. Like, no, I don't like. I mean, who likes working? Right? Let's be
people that do. There are people who love their jobs that
I'm
enjoy
not
getting
one
up
of
and
those
going.
guys. And I know you're not one either. So
let me just to clarify too, though.
Go ahead.
I never like, I get up, I go to work. I'm happy to, like I said, I have a job to go to. When I'm there, I'm giving them 110%. I do what I need to do. I show up, I do what I'm supposed to do. I try to make sure I do it well, and keep it moving. So, and it's not like it's just kind of hard to explain because it's not, I don't want you to think that it's just like, oh, it's just my job or this and this and that. It's other stuff too. It's, it's not that I like hate my job and that's the only thing that has me like feeling down sometimes, but it's not so much about the job because it would be anything I was probably doing as far as, like we were talking about before, like selling time, this and this and that. It's just that I feel like it's like, man, I should be doing this, or I got to push myself harder. I should be, I'm 40 years old. I'm like, I should be at this place in my life right now. And so I think I have expectations that I haven't met yet. And that frustrates me because I'm like, I really want to just, get to a certain place. Like I know how I visualize my life. And when I wake up and I see that I'm not there, I let that, instead of letting that motivate me in a positive way like it should, a lot of times I let it, just kind of get me down. And that's what I'm battling with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, okay. Let me ask you this: if you won the lotto tomorrow, right? Like what is it? Today's Sunday. Okay, so I guess the next time they do the lotto's Tuesday. So let's just say, for instance, you won the lotto on Tuesday, right? And they gave you all the money on Wednesday, right? So Wednesday you could walk away from the job, right, and do whatever you wanted to do. Do you think having all those options that you would be happier? You know what I'm saying? Like you like right now, we're both in a situation where like, okay, because I think that I don't know if I could be less stressed. And we talked about this, and this is one of the reasons why I gotta have so many millions, because I don't know what I would do with myself. I don't know if I would be happy if I could walk away, or would I be more stressed because I just had so many things I wanted to do, and now I have the opportunity to. And it's like, maybe I wouldn't do any of it. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying to an extent. I don't. I get what you're saying. Like, the whole more money, more problems thing, right? Like, it's like, oh, what am I gonna do? I'm like, now I gotta shell out money, probably, how am I gonna divide it up? Who am I gonna help? Am I gonna still be motivated to pursue my goals? And all those sort of things, right?
Situations change at that point.
Right. Like, but if you're asking me, okay, so just at its core, if I had a big pile of money, would I be happier? Kind of think so, bro. I kind of think so.
Okay. All right.
But I do understand what your point is. I believe, and I told you I watch Shark Tank like all the time. I'm like drawing a blank right now. I forget what they call it, but basically it's like the poor hustle, right? So like when you have, you give somebody $20 million, right?
Right.
And it's like, oh, go start the business and this and this and that. They're probably going to spend the money a lot more freely than they would if they had, $2,000 to go start a business, right? And I mean, obviously, dollar amount wise, yeah, of course it would be different. Right. But I mean, just the decisions that they make, you have to be a lot more strategic with how you spend every single dollar if you only have $2,000 or even $20,000, right? Versus if you had 20 million.
Right.
So I guess my point with that is that, yeah, the drive might still be there. I mean, I believe it would still be there. But how I go about doing it or how the person goes about doing it might change. It's like, because you can take chances. You can take a lot more chances. It's like, I'll throw a little money here. If it don't work out, it's not a big deal. Right. But I don't think I would feel as accomplished. And not to take anything away from people who, have like a ton of money. That's great. But I don't think I would feel as accomplished as if I won a lottery and now I got, let's say, $20 million. And then I start something that's worth $100 million. Well, it's like, yeah, that's great. But look at the resources that I had to do it. Versus if I had $2,000 or $20,000 and then I had to like just grind it out and make every dollar, just put it on a straight task. Like, boom, this is going to be for that. This is going to be for that. And then I bubble that up to 100 million. I mean, that's huge. Right. I'm going to be like patting myself on the back all day.
No. And I get your point on that. I definitely get your point on that. Like, so it's more and more about I guess the happiness part, the pride comes from being more strategic, like basically doing more with what resources you have now, or less than resources, or kind of like you're digging yourself out of a hole. There's a sense of pride that you get, and that also brings happiness compared to, I can just throw all this money out to whoever, and if I lose, I lose, and if I don't, then I don't. I still have whatever my little nest egg is. But
well, for us, for right now, I won't say for us because I don't know your financial situation all like that. So I'll speak for myself.
Okay.
But for me right now, my resources is really just my time, right? I don't have like, a ton of money or nothing like that. So my resources, my biggest resource is my time.
Right.
So and that's why I said, like, I get upset with myself sometimes because, you know, I need to step it up. And I know that. And I try to step it up a little bit more every day. But I'm still not doing what I really should be doing. And I'm not at where I really should be at in my life. And that's, at least I feel like at 40, I need to, you know, make some things happen. It's been time. It was time 10 years ago. So it's definitely time now.
Right. And that, yeah, you know what, we talk about time, and like one of the things that um, uh, like when your mortality gets tested, or you get to a certain point in your life, and you're just like, wait a minute, I'm more than half my life is gone, my life expectancy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, so I mean, because like, you know, I'm 37, so you know, I look at it next year or this year in June or whatever, I'd have been out of high school for 20 years. Like 20 years I've been out of high school.
How long?
20.
I'm just messing with you.
20. I'm just like, to me, that's like, I was thinking about it driving home. Like, oh, it's 2019, you know, and I graduated in 1999. Like, oh, damn, that's 20 years in June. And what have I done with my life?
And see, that's what I'm saying. And see, so you're looking at the 20 year mark, thinking that, and I'm looking at, because I already passed that a few years ago, but I'm thinking, I'm looking at the 40.
Right.
And so for me, the 40, and I think that's what's really got me like, man, what the, you know, I'm like, dang,
yeah,
I should be here. I should have this. I should have accomplished that. So, you know, and I do want to go back and just kind of say, like, you know, as far as the original topic and the question that was presented is, yes, completely, I think it's a decision. And right now, it's up to me to take that energy and get rid of all the, like, the sadness or the, not necessarily depression, and, you know, just try to step it up and put myself on a more positive path, thinking more, I guess, happier thoughts, and just being more focused and using my time wisely.
So yeah, you know, it's funny that we kind of went out on a little tangent there with that whole, oh, you know, if you're 40, like I'm 20, and you got to look back at your life, and that's when I always got to look at myself and be like, well, 20 years ago I was slanging boxes at Walmart, you know, so I might not be where I want to be, but I know I'm going in the right direction.
Right.
So that's what that's what makes me happy. And I think when we first started this show, it was about, well, you know, what are our metrics of growth? And I was like, well, hell, if the first week we got one person and the next week we got two people, that's good enough. And then the next week we got 5 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like this gradual, as long as, you know, there was some forward motion somehow, some way, or even if we just got better at the show, or, you know, we did come up with the intros and the outros, and, you know, it flowed a little bit more, and we found progress in that. Like, we're not at 100 million subscribers, but for sure I see progress of where we started 9 episodes ago versus where we are right now. And that's why I get super excited about wanting to, you know, continue, because I knew where we started.
Okay. I can respect that. Well, at this time, looks like that's about all the time we have for today's show. We'd like to hear from you about this topic, so feel free to join us in a conversation and leave a comment below. If you like the show, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the little bell icon so you don't miss out on any future episodes.
And if you have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, you can find us on Twitter at Practical Pivot. You can email us at practicalpivot@gmail.com. You can also head over to www.seanflack.com and click on the YouTube channel tab for web access to this and all of our previous episodes. Again, thank you for joining us. And let's see, I guess I was cut kind of short. This is episode 8 plus. Is happiness a decision? And we'll see you next week. Peace. I gotta figure this thing out. Where the heck is my mouse at? There it is.